we still have a little bit more to talk about with alchemy and preparations. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. First, let me just apologize for the late upload, what with a full work week, family, kiddos and the like, and all these other wonderful obligations, and this being the hobby, unfortunately means my priorities had to shift where they needed to. But such is life, and I'm sure most of you understand, and I appreciate the time you've taken, the understanding, and the fact that you're still sticking around here for this strange ride that we're on. But today we are going to keep talking about 5th edition Shadowrun, Enchanting, and we're going over alchemical preparations, and we're going to finish that up here. But before we do, if you're new here to the channel, then go on down there to hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or, if you've already listed yourself on such a legendary roster, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide to help spread the word about us. But now, let's go ahead and actually wrap up alchemy here. So remember, we've already gone over the rules for enchanting, picking out a linchpin or the physical object that contains the preparation, the spell, the trigger, determining the potency and everything. We've covered all of that so far, and now we're up to actually making use of the preparation. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that preparations, once you've made them, they are temporary, and they will last a number of hours equal to their potency times 2. Now remember, your potency also affects the strength of the spell once you activate and release it, and for every hour that goes by, you reduce the potency by 1. If the potency reaches 0 or the linchpin is broken, the magical nature will then evaporate and the spell will become lost. And when you actually go to release the spell, the preparation uses its potency, its remaining potency, as spellcasting and the force behind it as magic. The force will also act as the limit for the spell. And the spell will last for a number of minutes equal to its potency, or if it's a permanent spell, until it becomes permanent, which, you know, that's a little bit confusing as far as wording goes, but we'll talk about that another time. There's also no drain in casting in this way. The alchemist has already taken the drain in creating the preparation. And then, after you activate and release it, now you need to pick out what the targets are going to be. The targets of the spell must be on the same physical plane, and they are determined and selected from whoever is in range of the spell used. Now, if it's a touch spell, it will affect living targets touching the preparation. Multiple targets that might be touching the preparation are then selected at random, or determined by the magician if the command trigger is what was selected for making this preparation. So if it was instead of command you went with contact, then it would activate based on contact. It would go to the person who first put their hands on it, or if they happen to put their hands on it at the same time as somebody else, then it would go to just being random in that instance. And then we also come down to line of sight. If it's a line of sight spell, the target is chosen by the magician if the command triggers what was used. Otherwise, a target in range is selected, and the range is determined by potency times force in meters. So if it's potency 6 with a force of 6, so it's potency times force, 6 times 6, 36 meters is what your range would be, and it has to be within line of sight. So if somebody's around the corner behind something, they're not in line of sight, so the spell will not affect them in that instance. Or if it's an area spell, the preparation is then the center of the area and the radius is meters equal to the potency. So again, if it's potency 6, you go out to 6 meter radius in that instance. So with all of that covered and said now, let's go over some of the pros and cons. One of the big pros is that this is a way to supplement spellcasting, make touch activated potions and the like, and create dual nature in physical objects. This would allow you to, say, imbue somebody's tungsten edged war axe, whatever item that they might have, whatever physical implement of death and destruction, you put a preparation on it, you make it dual natured, and then it was able to affect different creatures of spirit, elementals, ghosts, and the like. And once you activate it, though, you have to activate it because your average street Sam is not going to be able to do that. The cons, though, the cons kind of outweigh the pros, however. One of the biggest being that the duration is limited and every hour weakens the preparation, so precise planning is going to be required. Also, what I said earlier, non-awakened characters are not going to be able to activate the preparation. You are going to have to be present in some way, or at least somebody able to activate the item is going to need to be there. And remember, you are still going to be taking drain when you're making these. Stun and physical damage caused by drain can only be healed through normal means of time. Stim packs, med kits, and the like, they might be able to ease your conditions somewhat, but they're not actually going to make you heal and recover from this faster. And this couples with the limited duration significantly because these only last for a number of hours equal to their potency, you need to activate them or get them made and then immediately go on the job. And depending on what kind of stun or drain you've taken, whether it's stun or physical, you are actively limiting your ability to do spell casting on the job. You have these items that are going to be incredibly handy and useful and help to pick up the slack in that instance, but you may as well have just waited and actually cast the spell in person on the job. Couple this with the fact that learning these preparations, learning the alchemical versions of these spells, means that you're going to have to spend that much extra karma. If you want to use Fireball, you already know Fireball through its sorcery version, through the sorcery components. Now you want to use Fireball in these different preparations. You need to learn it again and learn to prepare it as an alchemic preparation. So that's a significant investment of time, cost, and karma to yourself, for a reward where you can deal yourself the same amount of drain and take stun or physical damage on top of it, and then just go and cast the spell as normal through the preparation, where you could have just done that yourself where the moment's required and have the maximum amount of potency and force behind it that you would have normally had, whereas this will degrade over time. So this is an instance where making preparations and the like is probably better off being used as a skill for NPCs and the like. Somebody you go and pick things up from just before the job. Somebody who's not having to worry about whether or not they've dealt too much drain to themselves before going on a run. But that's just my take after reading that over. We still have other portions of this particular skill group to go over. Enchanting, disenchanting, and the like, breaking down different foci and materials into their distinctive components. There's still quite a bit to cover, and it's a bit interesting to try to wrap your head around, especially after coming from D20 games. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Let me know either way and we'll engage in discussion down below. And remember, if you're new here to the channel, go on down to hit the subscribe button, or if you've already done so, then hit the like and share to spread the word far and wide. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.